she was older.
Date. And she said, we have 16 girls waiting to date you.
Talk about marketing strategy. Oh my goodness.
This is how it went. I think we've seen it in movies where there's a speed dating part of the movie. Like the most notable one I think of is the movie Hitch. My mind goes to it. The movie called Hitch. Will Smith and Kevin James is in there. And I remember in there just watching him go on a speed dating thing. I'm like, that looks so fun. I know that's like an introvert's nightmare, but I'm like, I like to think from the perspective of if I'm laying on my deathbed, would I regret not going? Me personally, yeah. If I have the opportunity to, and I'm not married yet, then of course it's going to make sense for me to be able to. So the question is also, like, is it more than just that? Is there any other reason I went? Well, yeah, I've seen it on TV. I had the opportunity to, and I genuinely am interested in people. I have this curiosity when I look at people. And so even if I'll tell you about it in a moment, but even if I were to go and I'd have no success from that night, I would be okay with it because I'm like, I find people very interesting. So here's the dilemma though. Speed dating is, you want to date people that are your age, right? And again, I'm in my young 20s. So most people that are in their young 20s, at least traditionally, and like for this last century, most dating has been in person. You go up, you find the male goes up to the girl and says, "Hey, I find you attractive. Could I get your number? Could I call you? Could I see you again sometime? Can we go out to dinner?" That's traditional. And then I don't know when the speed dating scene arrived, but that started becoming more popular. It's not normal by any means, but it just became more popular. And so I think as people struggle to find a connection in like large cities, which I'm not in a large city. I live in Toledo, Ohio, which has like population of around 300,000 people, maybe 350,000 people, which is not small by any means, but it's not massive either. And so I'm like, I would be interested to see what this is like. Does it actually live up to like what a movie, like what the movies show it to be? But the problem is the age group, right? Because the smaller the city, the larger the age like cutoffs are. Because if you have a speed dating company and there's not many people that are going to your things, you're like, well, instead of just 20 to 25-year-olds this night, we're going to do 20 to 50-year-olds. That'll get some more people in. And you're absolutely right. From a business standpoint, you're going to get more people that are going to go to that night. But the problem is the value from each customer is lower quality because the niche is too broad. So what happened? This was several months ago, by the way, but I'm just like, this is such a cool story. So I had originally looked up in Toledo, what are places that offer speed dating? What would this be like? Like just getting a feeler out. And there's one, not in Toledo, but locally. It's in the Michigan area. It's called the Perky Wallflower. I know. Sounds like an interesting name. But I'm like, all right, this looks promising. So let's take a look. So I looked at all their upcoming dates on like where they host these things. And all of them are in Michigan at this diner. I'm like, all right. Because, by the way, if you didn't know, speed dating events are either held at a cafe or a bar or a diner. It's usually like those because you want it to be affordable and not too fancy, not too like not fast food level, not black suit level or black tie level. It's like somewhere in between. So it was this diner place, and I'm like, all right, cool. That sounds worth it to me. And so what happened was I sent out an email, and I said, hey, like, when's your next 20s and 30s event? Because I didn't see it on their website. And they said, well, that's actually our, like, one of our, it's the hardest to book people in their 20s. But she said, so we usually pair them with 20s and 30s. And I'm just like, dude, that means like there's a possibility that I'm going to be sitting down as a 21-year-old across the table from a 39-year-old. That would be rough. But I'm like, all right, cool. I think it's worth it. It's worth it for me. Like, I didn't do this for any other reason than I'm interested in seeing what this is like. Does it measure up to the movies? All that stuff. It just sounds like a cool experience. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I kind of forgot about it. Several months passed by, and then I get this email from this lady. She's like, hey, tonight, she texted me that, or she emailed me that morning. She said, tonight, we've had 3 guys that canceled, and so the girls need another guy to date. And she said, we have 16 girls waiting to date you. Talk about marketing strategy. Oh my goodness. That was it. Like the title said, we have 16 girls waiting to date you. And because it was from the Perky Wallflower, I knew it wasn't spam. So I'm like, oh, all right, what's this about? So, I read it and was like, all right, let me check my schedule. Actually, compared to the average person, I am involved in more things than the average person. I know I'm not married or have kids yet, but so I checked my schedule and I had something going on that night, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to cancel it. We're just going to go to this. It's going to be fun. So right after work, drove up, spruced up, of course, and then drove up to this place. And I am not a guy that gets nervous for things. And for example, most people's number one fear is public speaking. The second one, second most common fear is dying by fire. I'm cool with public speaking. I'm cool in front of crowds and stuff. So I'm confident that however it goes tonight will be all right. So we're just gonna do this thing. So it's a bit of a delusional mindset, but like a healthy dose of it, I would say. So anyways, I drive there, get there 15 minutes early, because first impression is everything. And so the way it works is this. I'm going to have 6 minutes with each of these people. The women stay in their seats and the guys all move. They move one seat after the other. And so you get 6 minutes for each one, and then you all have a clipboard. You have a clipboard with a piece of paper on it, and you have like a cover sheet. So you lift up the cover sheet and you have everyone's name that is there. And then everyone has to mark after the 6 minute date, yes to wanting their contact information or no. And you can only get their contact information if you both, myself and her, say yes to wanting it. If I say yes and she doesn't, I'm not getting it. And vice versa. So I walk in and there's still a bunch of empty seats because I'm 15 minutes early. And there's only like 3 or 4 people out of the 16 dates that are going to be there. All the guys were early, and there's one girl that was there early, and it was my first date. So what this means practically is I'm 15 minutes early, and I get to sit down with this girl, my first date, who's 15 minutes early, plus an additional 6 minutes after you start. So that's 21 minutes of date time. But the unfortunate truth was, she was older. I know 30s, listen everyone, 30s, you're not that old. Absolutely not. 40s, you're fine. 50s, all right, you're getting up there. But, to be a 21-year-old at the time, sitting across someone in their later 30s, I'm like, whew, Lord help me. Here we go. Because I know that she was not going to have any kind of high expectation for this. Because I look like a young guy. And by the way, I was not dressed in a backwards hat and t-shirt. I had a nice polo on, belt, shoes looked nice, everything matched, hair was done, was there early. So I put effort into it. And so that shows. They're early and I put effort into it. So I sit down, and the next part is, can I hold a conversation / can I show interest in somebody? And yes, I can. So we sit down and, I'm looking across, and we both know, all right, not probably going to be a match, but we're both here. So the first question, which just seemed natural, is I said, is this your first time? At a speed dating thing. And I should have led with, this is my first time, so that she could feel more comfortable. But that's what I said. She was like, yes, actually. Puts down her phone, and just a light conversation of like super light. Of, okay, cool. Are you from the area? I'm like, I'm from about 30 minutes away, so a little further. And she's like, 30 minutes for this? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's my first time. Of course I'm gonna drive a little bit to come see this. So she's like, okay. And then she leaves, and she's like, she had to get a drink. She wasn't an introvert, but come on. You're not trying to be stuck in a conversation that you don't want to be in. So she leaves. I'm just like, all right, cool. like, I just want to be respectful. If there's no connection, respect doesn't cost anything. So let's be respectful. So I think she saw over the several minutes that passed, like when she finally came back, and that I was not some typical like crazy young 20-year-old who wanted one thing. I didn't. I was there for conversation and to see if I matched with anybody. I was not there for any presumptuous like reasons. Promiscuous is the right word there. So finally, the lady comes out who's leading the event, and she like says the rules, like, "Hey guys, you're going to move every 6 minutes." She explained the clipboard thing, which I already explained to you, and she said, "Let the timer like let the night begin." She like rang this bell, and so the first date was more or less the same kind of conversation. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd like to have an interesting conversation, but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to force a conversation from someone who we both obviously are not wanting to see each other after. So it was a respective, cordial, back-to-back conversation, but there's no reason for me to say, like, what's your favorite food or something like that, like to warm up the conversation. It was more like, okay, you coming from work? Yeah, I'm coming from work. That kind of thing. More like very casual. Like, okay, not too far of a drive. Great. What are you drinking? That kind of thing. Because if you're serious about speed dating, you know that all those questions don't mean a thing. Because they don't. How far are you away? Like, what are you drinking tonight? Like, maybe they're like conversation starters, but you don't ask the same kind of shallow questions over and over. You kind of build up into what you're really getting after. Like, how long have you been single for? Might be a question later down the road. Because that says a lot. Like, if someone's like, yeah, I just got out of a 2-year relationship a week ago. You're like, ooh, okay. Now is not probably the best time for them. Or, you know, let's say children. Like, that's maybe a question that would be important to most people that you would want to ask towards the later part of those 6 minutes. If it's going well, and you're single and the other person was previously married and has kids, that's an important factor. So stuff like that. Now you're like, dude, what are you talking about? You're 21 years old. Why are you there? Well, it would be great if there was only 20-year-olds in the room. Well, pause, right? Not 20-year-olds, but like people in their 20s. That would be great because those are, I mean, I'm 22, so I could go on a date with a 25-year-old or a 21-year-old. Like, that's fine. But once you get like past 35, whew, man, it gets difficult to picture anything, any kind of relationship happening. So let's move on to the next dates. Part of me wonders like why I'm telling you this. Like, it's like, you know, you're watching a stranger talk about speed dating. But I think it's interesting, and I think some of you will find it interesting too. So moving right along, right? We had 16 dates. So the lady that sent that email, something was off because I get there and after like the timer started and I go on to the second date, I'm like, there are way more girls than guys here. Or no, my apologies. There are more guys than girls here. So I'm like, there's going to be like 6-minute sessions of me sitting by myself, which is just, it's hard not to be, for that not to be awkward. Like if you're a confident guy, like, and you're just sitting by yourself while everyone else is on their date, it's, you know, I didn't get my phone out. I didn't do that, actually. I sat there and as non-creepily as possible, just observed, you know, stay poised. And, I think I wrote some stuff down, some notes from previous people about conversation stuff. So that went well. And then, you're also, while you're at a speed dating event too, you're also scouting out who else is here. Like, if you're very serious about this kind of thing, you're thinking, is there any competition? Who are the other guys that might be putting in a lot of effort? They're early as well, dressed early as well, great with conversation, making the girls smile and laugh. That wasn't a problem because I was not there to go on a date. Yes, I was, but I was more there for the experience and to say I've done something like this. I don't want to do this video anymore. I'm really done with this. This was cool though. It's very interesting. infant. Let's redo the video.